Like you're watching Left, Right and Center. Let's now talk about our second discussion. You see, what happened in 2018 is the sudden escape of Mehul Choksi. Now this led to a huge controversy, lots of conversation around his escape from India. We do know that he is wanted in a PNB fraud case of 13,500 crore rupees. This became a huge issue, and then since then a lot of conversation happened. India approached international agencies. In 2017, the Indian government learned that he has acquired Antigua citizenship also. In 2021, he alleged that he was kidnapped and there was an Indian government plane also to get him back. While all of that is happening, in 2023, the fugitive is free to fly again as his name has been dropped from the Interpol list. That is, the red corner notice against him has been dropped. He'll be free to move around. But what are the implications of this decision that has been taken? Is this necessarily a setback for the Central Bureau of Investigation and its case in bringing back Mehul Choksi? I would like to welcome our guest. PKD Nambiar is a political analyst, supports the BJP. Shama Mohammed, spokesperson of the Congress Party. Neeraj Kumar is a former commissioner of the Delhi Police, and Aman Lekhi, senior advocate of the Supreme Court. Mr. Kumar, I want to begin with you first. How do you view this development?
Actually, too much is being made out of this development. If you examine it carefully, nothing much has happened. The person is in Antigua. Extradition proceedings are already on. It is erroneous to think that he can fly out anywhere and travel to any place in the world, because since extradition proceedings are already on, before he moves out of Antigua, he'll have to take the permission of the court. And the court will take the NOC from the CBI before granting him permission. So it is not correct to feel that he is now free to fly around the world. Secondly, the CBI has already agitated this matter because this decision to nullify the Interpol Red Corner notice was taken by the Commission for Control of Files within the Interpol. This decision has been challenged by the CBI with the executive committee of the Interpol, and that matter is already under consideration. So, in addition, 5 more cases have been registered by the CBI against Mehul Choksi, and fresh Interpol notices are being sought against him in those 5 matters. So, all in all, it is a false impression that is going around that he is free to travel to any place in the world.
Okay. Aman Lekhi, what's your view? Do you think too much is being read, as Mr. Neeraj Kumar is saying?
No, I mean, in fact, I'll give a graded reply. As far as the red corner notice is concerned, it's not an arrest warrant. Everyone knows that. It's an alert. Alert meant for law enforcement agencies, so that if they are so advised and if they feel that they should, it being in their complete discretion whether it should happen at all or not, they may arrest. So a red corner notice doesn't necessarily lead to an arrest, but it facilitates arrest. The question of arrest is a sovereign function of the requested state, wherever the person may be, firstly. So the fact that it is actually, he's off the red corner notice doesn't, as very correctly pointed out, affect technically the extradition proceeding, which may go on. However, 2 things that I need to flag over here. One is the legal requirement. The other is whether this is part of a legal strategy. And I link it to his movement to Dominica. What I feel here, what is happening is purely as a lawyer devising an escape. When the matter is pending extradition in Antigua, there is a movement to Dominica. Now, when there is a movement to Dominica, there is a case in Dominica. Because there is a case in Dominica, the Antiguan proceedings cannot go on. Now, the Dominican case is closed. When the Dominican case is closed, the Antiguan proceedings are now free of the red corner notice. So while theoretically he may not be able to move out of, say, Antigua, but there is a very real possibility that while those proceedings are pending, just as there is movement from Antigua to Dominica, there may be a movement here now from Antigua to, say, Cuba, or to any country where there is no extradition, easy extradition request. So first thing, is it part of a legal strategy? Because this can be very possibly a legal strategy, number one. Number two, Insofar as the CCF is concerned, a decision of CCF doesn't happen overnight. It's a very elaborate process because Interpol has a constitution. Insofar as the red corner notices are concerned, they are only issued when they're compliant with the constitution. Therefore, there's a mechanism to review the decision which is taking place. And when there's a decision to review, the review takes time. Now the CCS decision has come. What surprises me is that the government is in a state of shock because the question is, this could not have happened except over a period of time. And I feel, I read somewhere, it may have something to do with the Dominican aspect also, because one of the occasions for Interpol to revisit a red corner notice is a suggestion of unfairness in legal procedure. So whether he used a perceived unfairness of legal procedure in suggesting that he was abducted from Antigua and taken to Dominica because this is contested by Indian government may also be a matter which requires investigation. So just to summarize, one, notwithstanding the withdrawal of the red corner notice, extradition can continue. But the mere pendency of extradition doesn't necessarily mean that Choksi cannot yet, because of the movement of the removal of the red corner notice, go out of Antigua as to frustrate the Antiguan proceedings in any case. And the government has to explain why it has been caught by surprise by the CCS decision, because the CCS decision could not possibly have happened in a very short period of time, and obviously various factors have to be considered before a withdrawal takes place.
Interesting perspective. Shama Mohammed, politically, we have seen a lot of arguments that were mounted by the Congress when he escaped. Now that the red corner notice has been removed and he can fly, you see experts who say that this technically does not have any impact on the Indian government's extradition proceedings. But what is your observation?
I found it laughable that when the Modi government fumbles, I have lawyers and police officers saying legal strategy, false impression. These are the words used by them. Now here, why was this red corner notice removed? What is the reason? Because Mehul Choksi went to court and he said they abducted me from Dominica. They wanted to abduct me. They were the raw agencies. They wanted to abduct me. And he gave a person's name called Narendra Singh, who's supposed to be head. He was tortured. All these things were told in court. And what is the outcome of this is that the Interpol believed a fugitive's words against that of our agencies. That is very clear. Because of the court case where Mehul Choksi described what happened, Interpol comes out and says that, sending him to India or extraditing him or, extraditing is a risk. That is what exactly they said. So what I see here is egg on the face of Mr. Modi's government, the Mr. Modi's so-called agencies right now, which is under his palm, because they believe the full fugitive word against the CBI. Now let's look at how this case is. When it happened in 2018, I remember the Bureau of Immigration sent out a lookout notice. Now a lookout notice, the man escapes. Before that, immigration could have stopped him, Nirav Modi. And let's understand these people. One, Mehul Choksi, what was it called? Mehul Bhai. We have a video where Narendra Modi says Mehul Bhai. Nirav Modi was at the photo op at Davos just after robbing the country of 13,000 crores, both Mr. Modi as well as Mehul Choksi from the banks of our country. And he was in. So that time the BJP spokesperson said, we can't help it if that man comes in a photo op. Can you believe the nonsense? How can a person just go and be in a photo op with the Prime Minister of India without his name being already there on the list? So this shows, what do we see? I'm also going to relate it to Adani. Relationship with these people, all right? Then they escape, then you send out agencies to get them. And the same thing is happening with Mr. Adani. A lot of evidence against Mr. Adani. We are not allowed to speak against him in Parliament. We are not supposed to question the government about him in Parliament. Again, this Mr. Adani, so-called Mr. Adani, will escape. Then you will have lookout notices. You will have agencies saying we are going to extradite him.
Don't you think
they're
that this
talking
is
about 75 days of
don't you think, Ms. Shama Mohammed, you're dealing in a very hypothetical situation here?
About all these things where they're unable to extradite all these criminals, including Vijay Mallya. There is Jatin Mehta, the Sandesare brothers,
Ms. Shama Mohammed,
Parekh, Ritesh Jain.
I feel this is a sort of a hypothetical argument, don't you think, on your part? That just because it has happened in a previous case, it will happen in the future also.
What What did the Modi government say? We are going to get these guys back. What are we seeing is numerous businessmen, I've given out the names, have escaped. And let's
Sure.
understand, most of them come from Gujarat also. So why are they, first, why do we
PKT
prevent them
Nambiar's
from
response
going?
very quickly. Mr. Nambiar, your response.
Well, I'm surprised. First, we heard both the very senior police officer, a former police officer, and a legal angle from both the other panelists, and then got a different perspective from the Congress point of view. But the unfortunate part is that all these people, so-called fugitives, these people are all running, even wherever they are, even if whether they are in Antigua or Dominic or Cuba or any of the countries, they are not in a situation wherein even in that particular country, they are not able to live peacefully. That is the beauty of this government. This government has been trying not just to get them here or to just to going through a legal, only just from the point of view of a diplomatic or a legal matter. They have been put into such kind of a situation. And all these people with whomsoever even Shama was talking about, the names he has taken, all these financial crime had happened during the UPA 1 and 2. And then suddenly there is a regime change in this country, and all these fugitives have no place in the country. And as far as the Interpol is concerned, it is, as far as I understand, and even from the other two panelists, it is predominantly to find out a person where he is. And with regard to this particular person,
these are alleged acts of corruption in the UPA regime.
Isn't it true? Is that most of these financial crimes had happened. You remember that there was a time wherein over a phone call, you will get funds from any of the banks, both from the private banks and also from the government banks. That was the routine, that the phone banking system was introduced in this country only for selected
okay, I'll give Shama Mohammed the right to reply, but before that, the experts first, Neeraj Kumar and Aman Lekhi, you heard the apprehensions that have been, Mr. Nambiar, one moment. Mr. Neeraj Kumar, to you first. You heard Ms. Shama Mohammed, who raised certain doubts. Now, as a former cop, would you like to tell us a little about how the process works? Because she seems to be hypothetically suggesting a situation where this may happen again.
Well, if that were so, then it would have happened in the case of other fugitives as well. Their Interpol red corner notices would also have been cancelled or also would have been rescinded, but that did not happen. So these are hypothetical situations. She is entitled to her opinion. When somebody is charged with a criminal offense, whether in his or her own country or while he or she is a fugitive, she has a right to defend herself. And that right is being exercised by all the fugitives. You are aware that Mr. Vijay Mallya has exhausted all the legal, avenues for relief. And now it is being handled at the political level. It's just a matter to be handled at the political level. Almost the same situation exists in regard to Nirav Modi. And even though I have been accused of being a serving police officer trying to defend the present government, I must say I'm at present private citizen, and I'm just trying to give your viewers an insider's perspective into how things work, because I've served in the CBI. I've worked very closely with the Interpol. I'm aware of all these steps that are taken. So it is, well, we can cry foul, we can cry wolf over everything, but the correct situation on the ground is very different. The purpose of the red corner notice, by the way, Sanket, has already been served. The man has been located. Correct. Extradition proceedings have already commenced, and they are at a fairly advanced stage. So the mere, cancellation of the red corner notice is not going to have any effect on the overall situation. In fact, the Commission for Controlled Files has very clearly stated that this order will have no impact, absolutely no impact on the judicial proceedings of extradition and it will have no impact on the final findings.
But Mr.
that
Kumar,
is-
how would you respond to the points made by Mr. Aman Lekhi?
that which point?
Mr. Aman Lekhi, would you like to repeat for the benefit of our viewers and the panel in a nutshell?
No, I agreed firstly that as far as the red corner notice is concerned, the fact that's been withdrawn will not affect the extradition proceeding, which can go on.
No, but the second
that
point.
Said, yeah, the second point. The second point was that, well, I feel, notwithstanding the political diatribe which one of the panelists indulged in, because I'm not here to chew out political points, I'm only here to talk law. So whatever happens between the Congress and BJP is not my concern. What I'm saying is that it seems, I mean, from as an informed viewer, if the sequence is seen, I clearly detect a strategy. The extradition in Antigua, while it is pending movement to Dominica. Dominica leads to criminal proceedings. The law is when the criminal proceedings are pending, the extradition cannot continue. So that delays the extradition proceedings. Now, to the extent the Dominican proceedings continue, the Antiguan proceedings are on a hold. Now, the Dominican proceedings close because they say that, yes, there is no unauthorized access to Dominica. When the Dominican proceedings close, now the Antiguan proceedings start, the red corner notice goes out. Now, the red corner notice theoretically, yes, it's not an arrest warrant, and it's not as if it has to be arrested. And it's correctly pointed out, he needs permission to go. But there was travel without permission from Antigua to Dominica. Now, supposing the red corner notice has gone, right? The occasion for arrest doesn't come in. There may be a movement outside Antigua. Now, if there's a movement outside Antigua, supposing he moves out of Antigua, then in so far as the extradition proceeding in Antigua are concerned, they are rendered absolutely futile. So, because they'll be rendered futile over here, there'll be further delay in the very closure of this.
Okay, now I've understood. What if he moves out, Mr. Kumar? What if now that he's free to fly and move around, what if he moves around somewhere else, which makes the extradition proceeding tougher? Mr. Lekhi, is that what you're saying? Have I understood it correctly?
Yes, that's a possibility.
Yes, Mr. Neeraj Kumar. Again, a situation which is quite likely, by the way, because if there is someone who's a fugitive of the law, may want to use this as an opportunity to then fly out to some other place, look for another safe haven.
Theoretically, what Mr. Lekhi says is right, because theoretically, since there is no Interpol red corner notice, he can fly out of Antigua. But his conduct of fleeing to Dominica is reason enough for the government of Antigua to be that much more alert, to ensure that he doesn't move out again, to keep an eye on him, to keep a surveillance over him, and to make sure that he does not go out. And surely the Antiguan court, the extradition court, will also exercise enough controls over him so that this eventuality does not happen. I'm speaking in the practical terms, not a theoretical possibility that Mr. Lekhi is pointing out.
But theoretically speaking, it can happen.
Theoretically speaking, yes. On paper so supposing somebody was, captured here in India and he quietly moved to Nepal, but he was brought back to India. Then next time, India would be that much more careful that he doesn't move out, have that much more control.
So this, I think, Mr. Kumar, from what I've understood, Shama Mohammed, the argument being made is that subject to the alertness of the Antiguan authorities from here on, there is no problem for the CBI. I mean, he will have to seek permission, but subject to the alertness.
I was exactly going to point out the same thing which the lawyer has mentioned, is that when you lift the red corner, you can go to any country where we do not have an extradition treaty with. Now, Mr. Neeraj mentioned about the Antiguan government. Why should they do that? They, in fact, when this case was going on, the Antiguan police gave information and evidence in court siding with Mr. Choksi, that when he was taken over there, they believed him and said, yes, he was tortured, and by the agencies, he was tortured there. So that is, they also gave a statement to the Interpol. Now, Interpol took his statement. The police of Antigua, and that's how they've come out with taking off the red corner notice. So I'm sure that they are not going to stop him from traveling. Now, when the red corner, that is what I'm trying to say today, it's egg on the face of the Indian government because they were not able to put their facts. I would want the Indian government, at the end of the day, it's also my government, that to put the facts out there and say, you know what? This man is a fugitive. He is so-and-so and so-and-so. He has taken off 13,000 crores from our country and ran away. We need that red corner notice. They couldn't convince because they had the support of the Antigua police, Mr. Choksi. So that is what I'm trying to say is that herein even Mr. Nambiar mentioned NPAs. The NPAs have risen 10 times after they have come into power. And he said the cases started there. At the end of the day, when did even the Punjab National Bank officials did not know about it? Because the letter of undertaking was going on, being given, letter of credit, where the banks abroad were giving him money. He was importing diamond. The banks abroad were giving him money because the letter of undertaking came from the Punjab National Bank here. So even the higher officials got to know about it 3 years. So how does the government
this
know?
is the apprehension. I've understood very clearly. PKD Nambiar, your response.
So we have heard, exposed, it is the duty of the present
Mr. Kumar.
We have heard Mr. Kumar.
We have heard Mr. Aman Lekhi.
He left the country.
We have heard the point of Shama. One moment. Miss Shama Mohammed, one moment. I have to get a reply, please. Ma'am, please, the reply. PKD Nambiar. We have heard the views of everyone. Now your response.
You have given others time to speak.
The problem with the Congress is that they are neither can digest the very fact that there is something is happening, and the people who have left this country because of they know that this is not anymore their heaven for they can do any more financial fraud. When that kind of a discussion is taking place, that is also becoming a challenge.
The government of India.
I think the bottom line is that even the CBI has very, very clearly articulated and through their various tweets that this do not have any kind of an effect on the ongoing.
Okay, I think it has been established very clearly by a top cop and a top lawyer. I have to come in here. I have completely run out of time. Shama Mohammed, PKD Nambiar, Mr. Lekhi as well as Mr. Kumar, thank you very much. A top cop and a lawyer very clearly. One has highlighted an apprehension and the other has confirmed that yes, theoretically it is possible, but we are assuming that the agencies of this country will be far more aware and alert that this does not happen. But it is definitely a possibility that Mehul Choksi now uses this facility which is available to him to fly out to a safe haven.